The last fly. Departures from Tokyo. A calm voice spoke into the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard Flight 471 of Japan Airlines, which flies non-stop to Frankfurt and has stops in Bangkok, New Delhi, and Cairo. Masaru Tanaka adjusted the leather strap of his camera bag. As he sat in row 14 by the window, he was already imagining Europe's cobblestone streets. A schoolteacher in his early 30s, Masaru had saved for years for this trip, a 6-week journey across Europe, a break from routine, a search for something more. An elderly Osaka woman who barely spoke sat next to him. Across the aisle, a young couple whispered and giggled over a travel guide. Above them, the plane's engines began to hum, and Masaru's stomach fluttered, not from nerves, but excitement. Bangkok and beyond. The stop in Bangkok was brief. The flow of passengers was controlled. Masaru took a break to stretch his legs and breathed in the humid Thai air as he watched airport workers in the distance move cargo. The sleek, silver-bodied Douglas DC-8-53 was a beauty with its red and white tail fin that rose like a flag of purpose. He snapped a photo before boarding again. A crew member smiled at him, a stewardess named Hannah, her hair pinned into a perfect twist. She smiled softly and offered green tea. Masaru settled back into his seat. The passengers had already changed. New faces boarded in Bangkok, including an Indian businessman, 2 German backpackers, and a mother with her child. A new dynamic took hold inside the narrow fuselage, but the sense of journey remained intact. Descent to New Delhi. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, bathing the clouds in an orange hue, the captain announced their descent into New Delhi. Masaru watched the ground below, farmland, rooftops, a shimmer of river winding through the terrain. The plane then briefly jerked. Nothing alarming, but enough to make people's eyes widen. Masaru gave the elderly woman next to him a quick glance. She was holding her necklace in her hands and muttering something under her breath. The cockpit crew was adjusting for approach. Reports would later claim confusion over radio signals and misread altimeters. They might have been too low. It's possible that a beacon misaligned. The plane began its final descent, but the numbers didn't add up. At 3,000 feet, warnings sounded in the cockpit. The co-pilot muttered, "We're off course." In the far distance, a flash of trees appeared. The captain pulled the controls. Impact. It happened in a breath, a tearing noise, a surge of pressure, the world tilting violently. Masaru didn't see the ground rush toward him. He only heard a thunderous crack as the fuselage tore open like paper. Metal screamed. Lights explode. Then, silence. When Masaru woke, he was upside down, still strapped in. The world was blurry and distant. Something warm trickled down his forehead. The air smelled like smoke and burnt fabric. Cries around him. Moans. Then silence again. He dropped with a thud after releasing his seatbelt. Every inch of his body ached, but he was alive. He crawled out into the night through broken glass and twisted metal. The front of the fuselage had collapsed, but some of it remained intact. The cockpit was gone. A wing had detached and lay smoldering nearby. Masaru saw a stewardess, Hannah, her uniform torn, her leg trapped under debris. He tried to lift it, failed, tried again. He was finally joined by another passenger. Together, they freed her. 3 of them. Alive. They stumbled into the darkness, calling for others. Survivors and shadows. The crash site lay on the outskirts of a village. Locals arrived first, confused, horrified. They rescued survivors from the wreckage and distributed blankets and water. By dawn, the scene was chaos. The ruined smoke remained curled. Bodies lay covered. Officials arrived, airport staff, then military, then reporters. Masaru sat beneath a tree, wrapped in a blanket. Amazingly, his camera bag had survived. He clutched it like a lifeline. 7 survivors. 82 lost. 3 villagers had also died when the plane tore through their fields. He gave his name to the officials. They asked questions, but he barely answered. His ears still rang with the sounds of impact. He was unable to shut his eyes. A few echoes. Masaru stood at a temporary memorial near the crash site a few days later. Families had arrived from Japan, Germany, India, to gather remains, light incense, shed tears. From across the aisle, he saw the couple. They hadn't made it. The elderly woman from Osaka. Gone. Masaru placed a photo, his last shot from the Bangkok runway, at the foot of the shrine. He whispered, "I don't know why I lived," to Hannah, who was on crutches next to him. "But I think I have to make it mean something." She nodded, her face solemn. Return. Masaru returned to Tokyo weeks later. The journey was shorter this time, yet heavier. He now reflected solemnly rather than with wonder as he looked out the window. He compiled a book, Flight 471, Echoes in the Wind. It featured stories of the passengers, photos recovered from the crash, tributes written by families. It wasn't a bestseller, but it mattered.